Thanks to my subscribers for your support. Don't forget to subscribe and comment your city for a thank you gift. Enjoy the story. I still remember the exact moment it all began. A single heartbeat where destiny and disaster converged. What happens when a celebrated icon walks into a family secret meeting that changes everything? I ask myself this question each time I revisit that surreal day, a day that unraveled the carefully woven tapestry of my life. In the quiet recesses of my mind, I recall how every second was drenched in a gravity that defied explanation, as if the universe itself had conspired to shatter the illusion of normalcy that had cocooned our family for so long. I stand here, compelled to document every nuanced emotion, every subtle inflection of thought that passed through me as I witnessed the unexpected arrival of Kanye West, a man whose very presence disrupted the equilibrium of our concealed world. The day's first light brought with it an ominous promise that nothing would remain the same. I had orchestrated our secret gathering with a precision born of desperation and defiance, a calculated meeting of minds and hearts that held the potential to mend old wounds or expose them in all their raw brutality. The hush that fell over the estate as I prepared for the meeting was pregnant with anticipation, a delicate prelude to the crescendo of revelations that was soon to follow. Every whisper in the corridors, every furtive glance shared between family members, echoed the silent question of whether we were ready to face the storm that was about to break. I recall the setting as if it were etched in my soul, a sprawling, opulent estate that had been our sanctuary and our prison. Nestled among ancient trees and bathed in the golden glow of an autumn sun, the estate exuded an air of timeless elegance and veiled menace. It was here that we, the Censori family, had hidden behind a facade of perfection, our every secret safeguarded by tradition and the relentless pursuit of social stature. Yet beneath the glittering veneer lay a labyrinth of alliances, betrayals, and unsaid truths that threatened to burst forth with catastrophic force. On that fateful day, as I paced the marble floors and polished the gleaming surfaces of our ancestral home, the air was thick with the scent of anticipation and apprehension. I could almost taste the tension, a bitter mix of fear and hope, as each member of our family prepared to confront the inevitable. I, Bianca Censori, the matriarch burdened by both privilege and responsibility, felt the weight of every expectation and every whispered rumor. In the shadows, I knew that the arrival of Kanye West, a symbol of both modern genius and volatile unpredictability, was not a mere accident but the culmination of a plan that had been in motion for far too long. I promised myself, and now I offer to you, the listener, that by journey's end, you would grasp the full measure of the intricate dance between legacy and truth. I vow to reveal the layers of betrayal that had marred our family, the relentless loyalty that bound us even in our darkest moments, and the profound price we paid for maintaining a facade of perfection. You will see, through my eyes, how a single moment can unravel decades of deceit and lead to a reckoning that changes everything. The revelations of that day were not simply scandalous. They were transformative, reshaping my identity and the very foundation upon which our family stood. And as I recount each memory, I invite you to witness not only the external chaos but also the internal revolution that redefined who I was. I stand at the precipice of memory, recalling with crystalline clarity the events that set this all into motion. My journey began long before that singular day, a journey defined by quiet determination, whispered secrets, and a resolve hardened by years of navigating the treacherous waters of high society politics. I, Bianca Censori, was not always the formidable woman you see before you. There was a time when the weight of expectations pressed down on me like a shroud, a constant reminder that every smile I wore and every word I spoke was scrutinized by eyes that were never kind. In my youth, I had learned that vulnerability was a luxury I could not afford. Every hardship, every betrayal, served as both a lesson and a scar, etching into my very being the knowledge that in our world, trust was as fragile as crystal and as fleeting as a whispered secret. My background was a mosaic of triumphs and defeats, each piece meticulously arranged to create the image of a strong, unyielding matriarch. Yet beneath this crafted exterior simmered a torrent of emotions: pain, regret, and an unquenchable thirst for redemption. The stage for our clandestine meeting was set within the walls of our estate, a place that had witnessed both our greatest celebrations and our most harrowing moments. Every corridor, every hidden alcove, was a silent keeper of memories, both joyous and sorrowful. I remember the way the light filtered through the stained glass windows, casting kaleidoscopic patterns upon the polished floors, a constant reminder of the beauty and the burden of our legacy. It was within these walls that I had long nurtured the secret plan that now threatened to upend everything. The inciting incident arrived on an ordinary morning, cloaked in the deceptive calm of routine. An unexpected invitation was dispatched, one that held the promise of rewriting our family's history. There was a precision in its delivery that could only be the work of someone who understood the stakes involved, a signal that the meticulously maintained order of our lives was about to be irrevocably disrupted. It wasn't until whispers of Kanye West's imminent arrival reached my ears that I realized the full magnitude of what was unfolding. His presence was no accident. It was a deliberate, calculated move designed to force our hand. In that moment, the pieces on the board shifted, and I knew that the intricate dance of fate and ambition had entered a new, perilous phase. As the day unfolded, the tension within the estate grew palpable, a living, breathing entity that crept along the corridors and seeped into every conversation. I could sense the undercurrents of fear and excitement mingling in the air, each family member acutely aware that something monumental was at hand. In my heart, I felt the stirrings of both dread and resolve. I was caught in the delicate balance between preserving our legacy and embracing the chaos that threatened to tear us apart. In the hushed moments before the meeting, the estate was a hive of activity. I watched as trusted aides and reluctant relatives moved about, their eyes darting nervously from one another. There was a whispered urgency in every step, a silent understanding that the events of that day would leave scars that might never fully heal. I felt the burden of their expectations, the weight of a secret that had been hoarded like a precious gem, its facets reflecting both hope and despair. Amidst this charged atmosphere, secondary players emerged. Family members whose loyalties were as fluid as the shifting sands. Some were unwavering in their support, their faces etched with the stoicism of those who had weathered too many storms to be easily swayed. Others harbored a quiet resentment, their eyes glinting with a mixture of envy and ambition. And then there was an unexpected antagonist, a rival whose very presence challenged the sanctity of our carefully constructed world. This individual saw Kanye's arrival not as an opportunity for reconciliation, but as a threat to the legacy we had so painstakingly preserved. Their disdain was palpable, a silent battle cry that reverberated through the halls. In the midst of this maelstrom, I found myself locked in an internal struggle. The desire for family unity clashed violently with the need to maintain a pristine public image, a dichotomy that had defined my existence for years. Each step I took, each decision I made, was underscored by the realization that our legacy was on the line. I recalled the faces of those who had trusted me, the silent prayers whispered in the dead of night for salvation from the impending storm. Kanye's unexpected presence added an extra layer of complexity to an already volatile equation. Here was a man who, for all his brilliance and notoriety, carried his own burdens of fame and expectation, a burden that, in a strange twist of fate, mirrored my own. The murmurs and half-glimpsed expressions of my relatives stirred up memories of past betrayals. I found myself haunted by the echoes of conversations that had taken place in hushed tones long before the storm began. There was a time when trust had been our most valuable asset, when the promise of shared secrets and collective ambition bound us together like an unbreakable chain. Now, that chain was fraying, each link strained by years of deception and half-truths. In the flickering light of a grand chandelier, I caught sight of my own reflection, a woman hardened by years of fighting silent battles, yet still vulnerable to the very human emotions that had once made her a beacon of hope. I could not help but wonder at the irony of it all. In a world obsessed with appearances, how had we become so adept at hiding our true selves behind masks of perfection? The answers, I knew, were buried deep within the labyrinth of our shared past. As the murmurs grew louder and the tension reached a fever pitch, I steeled myself for the inevitable confrontation. Every fiber of my being was attuned to the delicate interplay of power and vulnerability, each heartbeat a reminder that the stakes had never been higher. The family's legacy, our very identity, now hung in the balance, poised on the edge of irrevocable change. Then, as the clock struck the hour that signified the beginning of our fateful meeting, everything changed. I felt as if time had both slowed and accelerated simultaneously. A surreal moment in which the past, present, and future converged into one excruciating heartbeat. The breaking point arrived without warning, a crescendo of suppressed emotions that exploded into a confrontation so fierce it threatened to shatter every carefully guarded secret. In that charged instant, the weight of years of denial and hidden truths bore down upon us all, and the facade we had so meticulously maintained began to crumble. I remember standing at the center of it all, a silent witness to the chaos unfolding around me, as personal secrets and resentments burst forth like a violent storm. The atmosphere was electric, charged with a mix of fear, anger, and a strange sense of inevitability. For a moment, it felt as if the very walls of our estate were closing in, as though they, too, were burdened by the weight of our collective transgressions. Every whispered accusation, every loaded glance exchanged in that moment, spoke of past wounds that had never fully healed. Then came the revelation, a twist so profound that it rewrote the rules of the game entirely. In the midst of the fray, Kanye, the man whose arrival had been both a harbinger of chaos and a beacon of unexpected hope, revealed a secret connection that none of us had ever anticipated. His voice, usually so confident and unyielding in the glare of the public eye, softened as he divulged a piece of his own history, one that resonated deeply with my own hidden past. It was as if fate had conspired to force our paths together, intertwining our lives in a way that defied all logic and expectation. In that revelatory moment, I found myself at a crossroads, a point where the choice was stark and the consequences irreversible. The decision lay before me like a chasm, the path of continuing the charade of perfection on one side, and the risk of embracing the raw, unfiltered truth on the other. I could feel the weight of history pressing down on my shoulders, the silent judgment of every ancestor who had ever carried our family name. Yet, amidst the tumult, a quiet voice inside me urged me forward, a reminder that in every act of defiance lay the seeds of rebirth. I resolved in that instant to choose authenticity over artifice, even if it meant sacrificing the delicate veneer of respectability that had long defined our existence. As the confrontation reached its zenith, I experienced a surge of clarity unlike anything I had ever known. Every emotion, every carefully hidden fear, now bubbled to the surface, and I embraced them as both my tormentors and my salvation. In the midst of the clamor and the chaos, I made a silent promise to myself, a promise to honor the truth, to face the consequences head-on, and to rebuild from the ruins of our shattered legacy. The decision was mine and mine alone, a testament to the strength that had been forged in the crucible of family strife and celebrity scandal alike. In the aftermath of that seismic confrontation, as the echoes of our heated words faded into a heavy, reflective silence, I stood amidst the wreckage of what we once called normalcy. The final showdown had come and gone, a duel of words, emotions, and unspoken accusations that left no character unscathed. Every soul in that room bore the marks of the battle, visible not only in the lines etched upon their faces but in the deep, raw intensity of their eyes. It was a moment of reckoning, a cathartic release that stripped us of all pretense and forced us to confront the painful truths we had long evaded. In that defining moment, the energy in the room shifted irrevocably. I watched as shattered illusions gave way to an unvarnished reality, a reality that was as brutal as it was liberating. The confrontation had done more than merely expose our secrets, it had unshackled us from the chains of our own making. I could feel a strange sense of freedom rising from the depths of despair, a bittersweet taste that spoke of both loss and the promise of renewal. Every harsh word, every tear that had been shed, was now a testament to our willingness to face the cost of truth. And as I surveyed the aftermath, I knew that nothing could ever be the same. Yet, in the midst of the fallout, there emerged a subtle transformation, a quiet metamorphosis that whispered of hope and redemption. The tumult of the confrontation had given way to a fragile calm, one that held within it the potential for rebuilding and renewal. I found myself reflecting on the nature of our legacy, on the delicate interplay between fame, family, and the relentless pursuit of authenticity. The final act of that tumultuous day was not simply a conclusion. It was a rebirth, a chance to forge a new path, free from the constraints of a perfection that had long stifled our true selves. As I contemplated the cost of our reckoning, a deep introspection took root. I saw in the fractured faces around me not just pain, but a raw, unfiltered hope. A hope that perhaps, in our most vulnerable moments, we could rediscover a sense of unity that had been buried under layers of pretense. The realization was both profound and unsettling. The price of authenticity was steep, but it was also the only path toward genuine transformation. I asked myself in the quiet moments that followed, if we were truly ready to embrace the cost, to let go of the artifice that had defined us for so long. And so, as I stood there amidst the aftermath of our final showdown, I resolved that the truth would be our guiding light. Even as old wounds ached and scars marked our souls, I felt a burgeoning resolve, a determination to rebuild not on the shaky foundations of old lies, but on the solid ground of truth and self-acceptance. In that singular moment, I understood that our journey had only just begun, that every fracture and every loss carried with it the seeds of a future yet to be written. Now, as I look back on that fateful day, my heart is a repository of memories, each one etched with the pain of betrayal, the fire of confrontation, and the gentle warmth of newfound hope. I reflect on the journey from secrecy to revelation, from the calculated calm of a family gathering to the raw, unvarnished truth of our most vulnerable moments. It is a journey marked by an unyielding commitment to authenticity, one that demanded we relinquish the masks we had worn for so long. In the echoes of that day, I see not only the scars of our past but also the glimmer of a future that promises healing and redemption. Every step we took, every whispered word and fervent gaze, has left an indelible imprint on my soul. I stand before you now, not as a woman defined by the constraints of her past, but as a survivor, a resilient spirit who found strength in the very act of confronting the impossible. The transformation was not immediate, nor was it free of pain. But in the aftermath of that storm, I found clarity, a purpose that transcended the confines of fame and tradition. I understood that our legacy, though marred by imperfections, was a testament to our capacity for growth and change. The journey of that day, the confrontation, the revelations, and the silent promises made in the wake of chaos, serves as a beacon for all who find themselves trapped by the illusions of perfection. It is a reminder that authenticity, however painful its unveiling, is the only true path to liberation. As I share these memories with you, I invite you to reflect on your own truths, to consider the cost of maintaining facades, and to find the courage to embrace the messy, beautiful reality of life. Now, I reach out to you, the listener, with a simple yet profound question. What would you do if a secret meeting like this came knocking on your door? I urge you to share your thoughts, your feelings, and your experiences. Let this narrative be not only my story, but a dialogue, a space where we can explore the raw intersections of family, identity, and the unyielding pursuit of truth. Your voice matters in this conversation, and in every comment, every shared insight, we build a tapestry of collective understanding and empathy. I encourage you to like, to comment, and to share this story with those who seek a deeper understanding of the price of authenticity. Let the discussion begin, for in our shared vulnerability lies the strength to transform even the darkest of moments into the light of new beginnings. And as I close this chapter, I leave you with a tantalizing hint, a promise that the journey does not end here. Beyond the shattered remnants of old alliances and the raw aftermath of truth, another story beckons on the horizon. A narrative woven with even higher stakes, where the entanglements of celebrity and legacy take on an entirely new dimension. Imagine a world where every secret carries the potential to ignite a revolution, where the personal becomes political, and where the very essence of identity is challenged by forces both external and intimate. In the next installment of our saga, you will be drawn into a realm of intrigue and ambition, a continuation of the intricate dance between power and vulnerability. As the echoes of that unforgettable day fade into the background, a new, unforeseen chapter emerges, promising twists that defy expectations and revelations that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. I invite you to join me as we step into this uncharted territory, where the price of truth is ever higher, and the stakes ever more compelling.